Hi everyone, I am Balaji Chippada and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In continuation of our SQL series, in this video, we will learn about two keywords, limit and offset. So without any delay, let's get started. So if you remember, in the previous video, we learned about select star from table name and what it returns. It is going to return you all the information about all the data that is present inside your table. So let's say this is my whole table in which I have around 400k records. Let's assume like that, and I have multiple columns. When I do select star from table name, let's say T1, I am going to print or retrieve all the information about all the columns, about all the records of our table, right? So this output would be 400k. And we also learned that this is not efficient. Let's say you are building an application in which you want to display 20 movies 20 movies at a single time, and if you want to display more, you have a button called next, and when you click on next, it is going to give you the next 20 movies. So in this scenario, let's say you are using SQL table in the backend, you don't need to select all the tables, right? Because we have total 400k, but I would only need 20 movies only. So in that scenario, what I would do is I will incorporate a keyword called limit, and I will say limit 20. So what it is going to do is it is going to take you the first 20 records. Let's say the length is 20, and it is going to give you the output in which the first 20 records are present when you use a limit. And when I click on next, what I would do is I would get the next 20 records, and then I will add it in the next page, right? So that is where limit helps you in reducing the number of records that you want to fetch, and it will drastically improve your performance because you are loading only few subset of records from your original big database. Now let's understand this in a real world example, and then we will see how it can be incorporated inside your SQL workbench. So if you see, I am on this IMDb website, and if you scroll down a little bit, so let's say I have all the movies in the backend, and here I am only showing only 6 movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I am not showing all the 500,000, 600,000 movies at a single time, right? So I don't need to do select star in this scenario. So we have another thing here in which if you click on this, I am going to show you the next 6 movies. So likewise, you can get only a few subset of movies every time to display on your website or application, and this will drastically improve your performance. And let's now go to the workbench and understand that by using an SQL query. So what I'm doing here is select star from movies table limit 20. So if I execute this, I'm going to get the first 20 records of my table called movies, and as I'm using star, it is going to get me all the possible columns that are present inside your table. Hopefully that is clear. And here I created one more SQL file. You can create by using this plus icon on top. Here I'm just selecting star from movies, and if I execute this, I get all the records, right? When I did select star from movies limit 20, I'm going to get the first 20 records. So if you notice the 19th record here, it is going to match with the same order of my original data set, which is select star from movies. So limit, what it will do is it is going to fetch you the top records. Let's say these are the 20 records. It is going to get you the first 20 records of your table, and I can use any number here. Let's say I want to get the 30 records. I can do that, and I can even get the first 5 records as well. So if I do this, I get the top 5 records. If you want to relate this with the data frames, once you load the data frame, we have a function called df.head, right? Inside this, you will give the number of records that you want to visualize. This is going to do the same thing. When you do limit, it is going to get you the first n records that you want to specify. Hopefully that is clear. But if you go back to the website here, when I click on this button, it is going to change, right? It is going to print me the next 20 records or next 6 records. How am I going to do that? That is where offset comes into picture. So what I would do is limit 5 and I will say offset 5, and let me execute this, and I'm going to get the next 5 records. So let me explain this in detail and we will understand the output. So let's say this is my original table, and let's assume there are only 20 records for now, and I'm using limit 5 in the first case. So when I do limit 5, what it is going to do, it is going to get me the top 5 records as an output. So when I do limit 5, I'm going to get the first 5 records, and when I say limit 10, it is going to get me the first 10 records. But my task is, now I want to get the next 5 records. Let's assume. How can I do it? I cannot do it by using limit, because when I use limit, it is going to get me the records from the 0th position. So that is where offset comes into picture. When I say offset of 5, it is going to neglect the top 5 records, and then and I say limit 5, it is going to get me the next 5 records, and then I get this. So what if I say offset 20? So it is going to neglect the first 20 records of your table, and it is going to get me the next details of your table. So in the first scenario, I will say select star from movies. I will say limit 5. So it is going to get me the top 5 records, that is clear. And if I want to get the next 5 records, I will do the same thing, select star from movies, limit 5, and I will say offset 5. So I am saying neglect the first 5 records. So I will get these records. Now what if I want to get the next set of records? So here in this scenario, I have to offset by 10 records, right? So I will say select star from movies, limit 5, and offset 10. So it is going to neglect the first 10 records, and it is going to fetch the next 5 records because I said limit 5. If I say limit 10, offset 10, it is going to neglect the first 10 records, and it is going to get me the next 10 records. Hopefully you understood the essence of offset and limit. Now let's execute that by using this. So when I say select star from movies, limit 5, offset 5, I get the next 5 records. So if you see, so this is my whole table, and these are my first 5 records, and when I do offset of 5, I'm going to get the next 5 records. Hopefully that is clear, and I can change the offset values, and let's say I will do limit 10 and offset of 25, and I will execute this. So every time if you want to iterate, you need to make a automated logic in which offset keeps on increasing when you click on that icon in your website or application. Hopefully that is clear, and I can do it on any kind of table as well. Let's say now I will say select star from directors, limit 20. If I do this, I am going to get the top 20 directors in my dataset. Hopefully that is clear, and I can add offset 30, and I'm going to get the 40 to 50 records. Hopefully that is clear, and I can just do the selection as well. I can just say I can only get first name, and if I do this, it is going to get me the first name of my directors table, in which limit is 20 and offset is 30. Let's say I will say here, let's say year. There is this error because there is no column called movie, and if I do this, I'm going to get the year and the name by having the limit 10 and offset 25. Hopefully you understand the difference of limit and offset and how we can use these two in parallel to get you what you needed. That's all for this video, guys. Hopefully you learned the difference between limit and an offset, and how you can use and where you can use these two keywords in conjunction with the select statement. If you are learning something new from this video, hopefully you will click that subscribe button and also click that like button on the top of this video, and we will meet in the next video. Bye bye.